Daf Mem Hey Amud Aleph, 6 lines from the top, the end of the line. Fragdi more of Rav to Rav Yehuda Svirle. You mean to say that Rav, he holds like Rav Yehuda Legabe Muksa, who's Machmir and Muksa. He holds like Rav Yehuda. I've Haboy Mine de Rav. They asked the Shaila from Rav. Ma'ula Tatuli Shraga de Chanukasa Mikame Chabari Beshabos. He said, he asked the Shaila, is it mutter to take the Ner Chanukah that was extinguished, can you remove it from in front of the Chaborim on Shabbos? After the light has been extinguished, can you remove this Ner Chanukah? The Chaborim were a dangerous tribe. They were Mitzara, the Yidden very much, and they made takanas that in their Chag you cannot light candles, only in the base of Avodah Zorah. So it was considered a sakana. It was considered sakana to have candles that they would see over there. They would mitzar the Yidden if they saw that they were lighting candles. And as the Ritva explains, we're not talking about sakanas nefashos over here, but there would be a sakana atzar. It would be very difficult. So he asked the Shaila, after the light has been extinguished, can you now remove the ner, move it from the public, and put it away so that they don't see it? Is that mutter? V'amrulu shaper dami. And he answered, he says that it's mutter. Now, if he holds like Rav Yehuda, that ner, if it was lit on Shabbos, it remains muksa for the entire Shabbos. According to Rav Shimon, the ner that's lit is also to move, but once it's extinguished, it's not muksa. Rav Shimon is mekel, and he says once the light has gone out, the flame has gone out, it's mutter to be metaltaler. Now here that Rav is matir, apparently he holds like Rav Shimon and not like Rav Yehuda. More answers no. Really Rav holds like Rav Yehuda. But this is Shasat Chak. Shasat Chak, shiny. This is a Shasat Chak, and he was mekel because of the Shasat Chak, because of the difficulty in the tzar that the Chaborim would cause to the Yidden, therefore he was mekel in this case. The Ha'amalei of Kana Rashi Rav Hachi Yachosai, it says that the halacha is mutter to be metal to the ner after the flame has been extinguished. We can rely on the sheet of Rav Shimon b'shasat chak. It's only in this type of a situation where it was a shasat chak, but otherwise he would say that it's muksa because Rav holds like Rav Yehuda. The following shaila: chitim shezorim bekarka. If you have seeds, wheat that he put into the karka. So he buried it into the karka. He put that in before Shabbos, and he put over there, but it did not take root. So therefore, removing it would not be a isser of ksira. It did not take root there. So it's just now stored in the ground. Or beim shetachas tarnagolas, or you put the egg under the tarnagolas, the hen, to incubate it. Mahu. So what's the din over here? So what's the shaila? Now we're going according to the sheet of Rav Shimon, even though he's mekel on muksa, perhaps that's only in a case where he did not actively biyadayim put it aside. Doiche, he was not doiche. It was something that was memela. For instance, something that was in a storage room, he didn't prepare it for Shabbos. Rav Shimon holds he didn't prepare it for Shabbos, it's not muksa. But perhaps this is worse, he was doich b'yadayim. He put it under the hen, and he put it in the karka, which is now, he put it away from his mind, he put it out of his use. He took it out of his mind he not only did not prepare it, he was doich it, and took it out of his mind, he put it out of his mind for the use on Shabbos. So maybe Rav Shimon does not hold muksa to l'dachi b'daim, but heich l'dachi b'daim is muksa. But here, where he's doich b'yadayim, he actively set it aside, put it away. Maybe he would hold a muksa over here. Or perhaps there's no chilik. Amr lei said, "Ein muksa l'Rav Shimon el Shimon shebener b'shoshu doilik." Now he's saying in these types of cases where the item is not inherently muksa. Now we'll see at the end of the Amud. Rav Shimon holds other cases of muksa as well. He holds like Regis and Simukim. He holds the things which are inherently not usable. A person can't use it, and he won't use it. That is muksa. But we're talking about items, things which are usable. it's only a question of preparedness. He says that there's no muksa, it's only shemen bener b'shashu doilik. It's talking about the shemen of the ner when the flame is burning. Oil v'huksel mitzvosa and huksel isura. And the Girsan Taisv Shanim is v'huksel isura. It's only in the type of case of a shemen shebener, while the ner is burning. Now, as Taisv mentions, of course, you cannot remove the oil from the ner while the flame is burning. That would be mechaber. But it means that even the oil that drips from the ner, it's still muksa so long as the flame is burning. Now, even though oil is usable, it's something which is usable, in such a case, he is meider, Shimon is meider that this is muksa. Because, at this point of the Gemara, we're assuming, because the oil in the ner, while it's in the ner, it was huksa, it was set aside for the mitzvah, and additionally, it was huksa l'isura, it was also to take the oil from the ner, because that's mechaber. So in such a case, Rosh Shimon is meider, then even the oil that drips from the ner, so there's no problem of machab over here because it already dripped, that's still muksa as long as the flame is burning. That oil is muksa because it was set aside from his personal use, both on account of the fact that the oil was designated for the mitzvah, and because it was also to remove the oil. In such a case where something which is inherently usable, like the oil, there's nothing wrong, it's something that's usable. Over there, Rav Shimon is maida that it's muksa because he set it aside. It's been put away from his mind. He's not going to use it because it's set aside for the mitzvah, and it's also to take the oil because of an isser. But otherwise, for instance, in this case over here, by the egg that's under the hen, in this case over here, then we will not say that it is muksa, because you don't have both components over here, so it's not muksa. So even though he actively put it under the hen, he did a ma'aseh b'yadayim, he says, even in this case, Rav Shimon is maida, he also maintains that it is not muksa. It's only when you have these both components. Now, Taisus asks, well, what was the Gemara's shaila by Hechet Dachari B'dayim? What was the question to begin with? The Gemara's question was if he put the egg under the hand to incubate, or he put the chitim in the soil, maybe because he was Dachari B'dayim, maybe it should be muksa. But by the shemen shebener, he was Dachari B'dayim, and so long as the flame is burning, it's muksa. So what's the shaila? He was Dachar b'yadayim, he put it in the ner, and he lit the flame, and yet the oil that drips from the ner, from the candle, is not muksa according to Rav Shimon. So don't you see that where he's Dachar b'yadayim, even though he's Dachar b'yadayim, Rav Shimon does not say it's muksa? So he says no, there's a chilik. Over there by the ner, he was Dachar b'yadayim so long as the flame is burning. But when it's not burning anymore, it's not Dachar b'yadayim. So at this point of the Gemara, we're saying that something which is inherently usable, that Rosh Shimon says it's only muksa if it's both huksel mitzvos and huksel yisura. Frank the Gemara, v'lesle huksel mitzvos, does he not hold that even if it's only huksel mitzvos alone, that itself alone does not make it muksa according to Rosh Shimon? We learn in the Baraisa, if he was masachet the sukkah, he did put proper schach on the sukkah, the itra, b'kromim, and he adorned it, he decorated with kromim sadinim, and he put all kinds of beautiful decorations over there, tapestries and sheets, some tzuyorim, v'tala by goizim, and he hung from it nuts, afarsakim, shkedim, and nuts, and peaches, and almonds, and pomegranates, by Ramon of our parchle, shel anovim, and clusters of grapes, v'atras shel shibolim, sheets of shibolim, of wheat, yenos, shmonim, wine, and oil, v'salsa, some flour, He set it aside for the mitzvah. He used all these decorations for the sukkah. It's been set aside for the mitzvah. He cannot use it. He cannot take from it until Motzei Yom Tov Achron, until after Achron of the Chag, at the end of the Yom Tov. So you see that since it was set aside for the mitzvah, it's huksa lemitzvosa. He cannot take it for personal use. Vim hisna olem akol afitzano. But if he made a tanai, that he is using it, he's continuing to use it for personal use. He didn't set it aside exclusively for the mitzvah. He made a tanai, a condition that he's putting in the sukkah, but he still wants to be able to use it for his personal use. Then he can. But otherwise, we say it's being set aside for the mitzvah, and he cannot use it, and it cannot be used at any time. He cannot use these decorations. So you see that huksa lemitzvosa alone, and huksa lemitzvosa alone, it still would make it also. So, and over here, because over here is only huksa lemitzvosa, it's not huksa li'isura, because removing all of these items, it's also for the entire Yom Tov, including the entire Chag rather, including Chol HaMoed. And Chol HaMoed, there's no huksa li'isura over here, as Rashi points out. There's no huksa li'isura on removing it on Chol HaMoed, and therefore what we're dealing with is only huksa lemitzvosai, and you see that it's still considered muksa. And therefore, on Shabbos and Yom Tov, it would have a din of muksa, which would therefore mean it's also rafil to be metaltal. How do we know that this is going according to the Shita of Shimon? Maybe it's going according to the Shita of Rav Yehuda. No, so how do we know it's Rav Shimon? The Tanur of Chibar Yosef comes Rav Yochanan noitlem eitzim in a sukkah b'Yom Tov. You cannot remove the wood from a sukkah in Yom Tov ela min hasamachla. You can only remove the wood from the sukkah on that which is next to the sukkah, which is in the surrounding area of the sukkah, but not from the sukkah itself. The walls of the sukkah you cannot remove it because you're being sliced with the oil. Only on the area of the wood around it. Rav Shimon matir. And Rav Shimon says it's mutir. He holds, of course, you cannot remove the walls of the sukkah, that's seiser, but he says if the sukkah collapsed, and there was such an anticipation, according to Rav Shimon, that it would collapse, once it collapsed, it's mutter. Rav Shimon is matir. So the Tanna Kama holds that you cannot remove it, even if you take the wood, even if it collapsed. It's only from the surrounding areas. Rav Shimon says if it fell down, you could. But vishavin b'sukas achag b'chag. But they agree that the sukas achag b'chag, if you're talking about sukkah on sukkahs, where the previous case we were talking, well, you have a hut. It's on Pesach or Shuas, you have a hut. But if we're talking about a sukkah, which the halacha of sukkah on sukkahs, Misham is sukkahs achag b'chag, shehi asura, that is asur. Why? What's the difference on sukkahs? Because there is also huksa lemitzvosai. So there, Rav Shimon would also agree that it's muksa because it was set aside for the mitzvah of sukkah. So he would also agree that even though it's collapsed, it's also. But if he made a tanai that he's going to keep it for use, it's still for personal use, then his tanai overrides it. But otherwise, we would say if it's huksa mitzvah, Rav Shimon agrees. But Vishavin, Rav Shimon agrees that the sukkah on sukkahs, that is huksa mitzvah. And it's also, so you see, even if it's not huksa li'isura, even if it's talking about Chol HaMoed, it's still considered huksa le'mitzvosai, and it still be considered muksa. So Gemara answers, Enechanami ke'ein shemen shebener kamrinan. We don't mean davka shemen shebener. We mean something similar to it. Hoil v'huksa le'mitzvosai. We say once something is huksa le'mitzvosai, huksa le'isura, we consider it huksa le'isura, and it is also muksa. So Rav Shimon is moida. That's something which is inherently usable. But once it's huksa, once it's set aside, it's huksa for mitzvosai, then it has a din of muksa. If it's huksa li'isura, then it's muksa. And similarly, if it's huksa mitzvosai, then it's also considered muksa the entire time that it is huksa for the mitzvah. So the shemen should be there as long as the flame is burning. It's huksa l'misura, it's huksa l'mitzvosa. That oil is muksa, and even the oil that drips out is muksa. Once the nair has been extinguished, there's no longer isser, and there's no longer mitzvah, and therefore the oil is mutter. But Rabbi Yehuda says that it's also even in that case. Itmar nami amar Rav Chiya bar Abba amar Rav Yechon ein muksa l'shemen ela ke'ein shemen shebener b'shal shu doileg while it's burning. It's considered huksa mitzvos. It's also considered huksa iser, and it's awesome. He says that something that is now we're talking about an item that is not huksa mitzvos, not huksa isur. So if something is just not prepared, Rav Yehuda holds if something is not prepared, it's muksa. Something in a storage area is muksa. Rav Shimon has something that it's not prepared, it's not muksa. Except something like Groigers and Simukim, where he took the raisins and he took the figs and he took it up to the rooftop to dry out. So once it's in that stage where it's being dried on the roof, it's no longer edible, usable until it's completely dried out. So there is makatz b'yadayim. There, Rav Shimon is moida that those items are considered muksa. It's only those items, nothing else. If he was eating figs, and he left over, and then he put it up onto the roof to make groigers, to make dried figs. Grapes, and he left over, and he brought the grapes up to the roof to make raisins out of them. He can't use it until he makes a hazmona, until he prepares it. But in that state that it's in now, it's muksa. And similarly, you see by peaches and quinces, other type of fruit, it's the same thing. So it's not only groigers, smukim, it's not only figs and raisins. So mani ilem Rabbi Yehuda. So who is the mandam or who is the tan? If it's Rabbi Yehuda, mahechad loy dachim biyadayim islem muksa mandach Rabbi Yehuda holds even if you're not daich biyadayim, even if it's in a warehouse in a storage area. You didn't put it aside. You didn't put it up to the rooftop. You just didn't prepare it. Rabbi Yehuda says it's muksa. So of course over here where he's deich b'yadayim, put it up to the roof to dry. Of course Rabbi Yehuda would say it's muksa. So there's no chiddush over here. So the mechayer, the mandamer can't be Rabbi Yehuda. El Rav Shimoni must be that it's Rav Shimon. And you see that it's not only groigers and simukim, it's other fruit as well. Gemara says no. La'olam Rav Yehuda is going according to Ruth. According to Rav Shimon, it's only groigers and simukim. This mandamer is Rav Yehuda. What's the chiddush according to Rav Yehuda that this is muksa? Madach Rav Yehuda holds even something that he didn't prepare as muksa. Certainly something that is doich b'yadayim. No, but here there's a chiddush over here. By the food, there's a chiddush. You might think that since he's eating it, it's food that he's eating. Now, here he just the leftovers, he put it up to the rooftop. So you might think that since it's something that he's eating, you don't need a hazman on this. It's not considered muksa because it's something that he's been eating the same items. Kamash Malan came to Halagag, Asuchi Ascha Ledaitaminahu. Kamash Malan, that no, even though it's an item that he was eating, but once he took it up to the rooftop, he's Masiach Das, and he puts it out of his mind, and it's not prepared, and Rav Yehuda holds that this is also muksa. But according to Rav Shimon, then muksa ela greger simukim in the food items, it would only be these types which are not edible or usable until they're completely dried out.